I'm so excited about this video, but I'm also just a teeny tiny bit nervous because I went on Instagram stories and I said that I wanted to do a video addressing any of the rumors you've heard about me or any assumptions you have about me, and I said that nothing was off limits, and you guys took that and you were like, now is the time for me to get the tea. And so I've been reading through some of the responses and I was like, you know what, I should just set up and film this right now. So I am in my living room in my PJs, but this is gonna be so fun, and it's kind of like a little bit of a dive down memory lane. So I got thousands of responses, a lot of them are duplicates, and I'm just gonna go through and answer as many of them as I can. A lot of them are things that I've already talked about in previous videos, like the name thing. That drama is very 2008 to me, and I don't think it's something that you guys want to hear me talk about for the umpteenth time, but just to throw it out there, Blair is not my real name. It is the name I go by. It's what everybody calls me, but it's not the name I was given at birth. I was born Laura Elizabeth. That was a really big deal back in like 2008, but I think we have some juicier stuff that we can get onto, and this video is sponsored, and I will be going into kind of sponsorships, coming back and filming before my wedding, why I'm back on YouTube. A lot of people said that they thought I was gonna leave right after the wedding, and I just kind of want to touch on all of that. But this video is sponsored by DoorDash. Thank you so much, DoorDash. I am so proud that they are a sponsor because I actually use DoorDash all the time as my delivery platform when I'm ordering basically anything to get delivered. It's not just food. DoorDash literally is your door to more. You can either go click the link down in the description tab, or you can scan the QR code that I'm going to put up on the screen right now. You use Juicy Star 50 for 50% off up to $10 on your first order of $15 or more. And they are just an absolute incredible sponsor, and I'm just really proud that I've only been back on YouTube for a few months now, and I'm already partnered with a brand that I love as much as DoorDash. When I say that I love DoorDash, I am not kidding. I freaking love it. I guess we should start with like the sponsored money leaving after the wedding type of content. So for example, you're only back on YouTube to pay for your wedding. You only come back for sponsorships and will be gone again after the wedding. So basically, I do want to touch on this, and I've wanted to talk about it, but I didn't want to be like defensive at all. And I have been trying to be really introspective when people send me comments and things like this. I want to make sure that I'm not just like reacting and responding. I want to actually take what they're saying, question if there's any validity to what people are saying. And so with this, I think there is a lot of validity to people saying, I fear that you came back to YouTube to make some money for your wedding and you're going to be gone right after your wedding. And the reason I think there's validity to that is because I have a habit of kind of disappearing off the internet for a chunk of time. I did kind of take a big step back from the internet when I left LA. I moved to Nashville, I started college, and then I started my career as just like a normal working girly, a 9 to 5, more like a 7 to 7, but you know what I mean? And to be honest, I really just didn't have time to film. If you'll notice, I never put up a video saying I was quitting YouTube or even using that as some sort of clickbait. I knew that YouTube was never done for me. YouTube has always been a place that I can come and kind of express myself. I don't know how much I've talked about this, but when I first started YouTube, I had a few friends in high school, but for the majority of the time, I wasn't like a popular girl in high school. I was kind of like friends with a lot of people in a lot of different groups, but I wasn't really like part of a core friend group. And I think that having YouTube, kind of, you guys became my friends, and I was just so excited to get home from school every day and come film a video and read the comments. I think that's where the like comments thing stems for me. I love when I upload a video to spend like the next few hours just reading and responding to comments, and I think it's because when I started YouTube back in the day, that was like my interaction I was having with friends. And it was also much more of like a dialogue back in the day. I feel like now content creators will put up their video and they might respond to a couple comments, but you're not like having full dialogue in the comments with your viewers. And that is what YouTube started for me. So I just still kind of get that urge to like, let's chat, let's talk. So I have left YouTube a lot. So I do think there's validity in that question or assumption. I think the only thing I can do to kind of like prove to you that I'm not just back for money for the wedding is going to take time. It's going to take, after the wedding, me continuing to upload content and just kind of show you that I'm not back here just for that. I will say that being able to do some sponsorships before the wedding has been so incredibly helpful, and I did not think that I would be able to make money back on YouTube in the time frame that I have. AdSense is not what it used to be. You used to be able to upload a video that wasn't sponsored or anything. You could just upload the video, and the money that you would make off of AdSense was really wonderful. It's really not like that anymore, at least for my channel, but that could be because of the views that I'm getting versus the views that I used to get. So I don't know if the actual CPM is different or if it's just that I'm getting a lot less views than I used to. Either way, you don't make as much money on it for that, and I knew that. I didn't think I'd get a sponsorship offer until I had been back for like a year, and then all of a sudden they just started coming in. I immediately started reaching out. I am very particular, and this is one thing that I know has always hurt Elle, that people like assume that she's a sellout or just accepts any sponsorship, and I'm the same way in terms of I want to test all the products. I ask for a month to 6 weeks depending on what the product is. I want to make sure that I actually like that product, that it's the type of thing that if someone goes out and buys, I want it to be exactly the way I describe it is, and I don't want there to be any question of if Blair recommends something, is it actually as good as it is, or is it because she got paid to say what she said. So I've always been very strict on that, and that hasn't changed. I'm only partnering with companies that I already love or that I am actively falling in love with. They're sending me the products weeks and months before I'm actually coming on here and giving my thoughts and opinions. But anyone who's 2 years out of college probably is on a similar trajectory to me in terms of where you're at in the corporate workplace, and it definitely is helping my family so much to be able to do these sponsorships. I had some long conversations with my fiance about whether to accept these sponsorships or not, because I did come back to YouTube strictly as a hobby, and I was like, if I immediately come back and then immediately start having sponsorships, it's obviously just gonna look like I'm doing it for the money. And so we talked about it a lot, and we just decided that we're not at a place in our life where we are able to turn down that kind of money. I still get to film these videos, and I'm only accepting sponsorships that can be put into videos that I already want to film, like this one. But I have a dream, and I'm going to try to make this as fast as I can, but my dream is that I'm working at an architecture and design firm. I went to school for interior design, and then I got a job. I've been there for about 2.5 years, and so my goal is to learn as much as I can while I'm there. And I just have to say, I am at a firm where I am learning so much and surrounded by so many talented architects and designers that the education that I'm getting from them is actually invaluable. So no matter what, I need to stay there for a few more years just so that I can be the best at my craft. I hope that being able to absorb from them for a few more years is going to put me on that trajectory to be the best designer that I can be. After a couple of years, when I'm licensed, when I have more projects under my belt, I would want to start my own design firm, but I do not have any portfolio projects that I can really show as of now. I have projects that I did when I was in school, so they were all conceptual, and then projects that I've done at the firm, but I am like the juniorest designer on the projects that I'm staffed on, so that means it's not really my design. Like, I don't feel comfortable putting that in my portfolio and saying that it's my design when it really was the designers that were above me. So we had been talking about, I am going to squirrel away as much of my salary as humanly possible for the next few years, and then when I'm ready to make that switch, we are going to renovate our house. There are a lot of areas that need to be fixed up. We wanted to do that, and that would be twofold. A, it would give us equity in the house because we'd be fixing up the house that we own, and then when we go to sell it, we'd be able to make more profit on it. And then two, it would give me a project to put in my portfolio, so I'd be able to show like a kitchen renovation, bathroom, that sort of thing. Accepting these sponsorships has basically just meant that we are going to be able to begin fixing up the house sooner than we initially thought, and that means that we actually get to live in it and enjoy it in its fixed up state before I make the transition into starting my own design firm. I have had a dream about being a mama and having my own design firm and just bringing on a few clients, maybe 2 or 3 at a time, and really just being able to focus on those clients and then focus on being a mama. That's kind of like the dream. And then because I'm doing these sponsorships and because I'm making videos again, it's not only twofold. I get the equity and I get the portfolio project, but now it's threefold because I also get to film it and have it as content for you guys. So I am so excited. We've already started talking about what our first project is going to be. So I just feel so fortunate to be able to do this and make some extra income. This person asked me to be super transparent about the money I made when I was on YouTube. So back in the day, I definitely made a whole lot of money. My parents were very particular on Elle and I making sure that when we would get our paychecks, we would have to take a certain amount, put it into a tax account, and then we would take a certain amount of what was left, put it into investments, and then the rest was savings, or we had a little bit that would go into just like, you can spend this however you want. And obviously after I was 18, it was my money. I could do with it what I wanted, but I still kind of kept up that routine and structure that my parents had set up for me. So I'm so thankful that they did that, because if they didn't, I probably wouldn't have anything as of now. But I will say that the money that I have left from my YouTube life is all tied up in either investments or properties. I don't really have like a liquid cash amount that I keep from YouTube. My liquid cash amount is really what I get from my salary. So I work at the architecture firm, and then for 3 or 4 semesters, I was an adjunct professor at Belmont University. I took this past semester and this semester off from teaching. It might be something I go back to. I absolutely love it. I just thought that it was just too much time-wise as of right now. The next thing that so many people asked me to talk about was the TV show that my sister Elle talked about when she did her assumptions video like this, probably like 2 or 3 years ago. And so she touched on it. She kind of like revealed it. We had never talked about it, and a lot of people are wanting my side of it. So basically what happened is when Elle and I were at like the peak of our YouTube fame, we were approached to do a reality show. And so there are a few different ways that you can pitch yourself for a show. You can pay outright, hire a production crew, package a pilot together, and then pitch it to networks, or you can go in front of a network. You can ask them to pay for it. You partner with a production group, you package the pilot, they own it because they paid for it. So whether or not you guys decide to move forward or not, that network owns that pilot. So you can't just take that pilot and like shop it to another network because network A paid for it. So we decided to go that way just because it wasn't money out of our pocket. So we went to the first network. They paid for us to do a pilot. We hired a production crew. We filmed the pilot, took it back, and I believe they came back and offered a season of that show. I'm trying to remember. It was so many years ago, you guys. But if my memory serves me correctly, Network A wanted to pick up the show, meaning they wanted to purchase a season of the show. So then we would go film the rest of the 9 episodes or 11 episodes, however long the season was. But I definitely remember, and I think it was this first one from Network A said that they wanted to purchase it, but it was in the contract, like it needs to be more drama. And I will be honest, like I was cool with it. I was like, all right, sick, let's send it Elle. We're gonna be more dramatic. And Elle is just not a super dramatic person. She is very like calm, cool, and collected. And we like to joke that she's kind of like always at an even 5, and I'm like bouncing around from a 1 to a 10 like within seconds. So she really put her foot down and she said this was as dramatic as I'm willing to be, and I don't want to go any more dramatic than that. And I know in her video she mentioned that she thought maybe I was still like sad or upset about that. Basically, all I have to say is if it had been up to me, yes, I would have done it. However, my life has turned out exactly the way it was supposed to. So I'm really, really glad that that isn't what happened, because I am so happy in my life right now. But I believe the first network, when they didn't want to pick up that show if we weren't agreeing to do more drama and kind of more like setup scenario type things, I believe they came back with a different show option. We filmed that pilot, so it was similar, but it was a little bit of a different concept so that it didn't have to be as dramatic. And then when that one came through, they didn't want to purchase that one or they did and we couldn't come to terms on like payment or something. For some reason it didn't go through. And then we went to network B and did one for them. They wanted to purchase it, but again, wanted it to be more drama, so we passed on that. And then at that point we had passed on 3. And I think we were just at a point where we realized there really wasn't a space at the time for us on network television to do what we wanted to do without being like too dramatic. So we kind of stopped that pursuit. And it is something that I still think about. Elle and I would talk about it and I'd be like, yeah, that's something that like I wish we would have got to try. I wish we could have seen like what would have happened if we had done a show on TV. You know, we had a lot of online fame, but we didn't really have that like traditional media fame. So I really wanted to see what would happen if we put ourselves in that situation, but it just never ended up happening. And honestly, I'm so happy with where I am in my life right now. It's totally fine. Bygones are bygones. I got a lot of assumptions that Elle and I aren't as close anymore, or we're going through a hard time together. I don't know why someone said that, because that is the furthest thing from the truth. Elle is still my best friend, and a lot of people were asking like, is she still with Alex? And like, yes, they have 2 kids together. They are still very, very much together. This person asked, did you ever read the gossip sites back in the day? They were brutal. Yes, I did. I would try to make it a point not to go on there too much, just because it would put me in a headspace that like wasn't super healthy. But yes, I did read them some back in the day. And you were making $5 million a year before you quit YouTube. I don't think I ever made $5 million in a year. I think I would remember that goal if I had done that. You inherited millions from your parents. My parents are both still very much alive, so I haven't inherited anything from them. Someone wants to know if I'm going to take a career break and start a family after the wedding. So we do want to start having kids pretty soon after the wedding. We've kind of been talking on and off about it. I think there are some days where we're like, let's do it right now. And then there are other days where we're like, we want to wait, we want to go on our honeymoon, we want to enjoy the newlywed stage, and then we'll get into it. A lot of you know Elle did have a lot of fertility issues. She's been very open about it online, and so there is a part of me that worries if I have that and we want to have a couple kids and I'm already 31, like at some point we need to start trying, but we don't know exactly when it's going to be yet. I don't believe I'll ever be a true full-time stay-at-home mom that like does not have some sort of side hustle or job, whether that's YouTube, whether that's being an adjunct professor, owning my own design company, like whatever it is. I do think I will always have something that I'm working towards, but I could see myself taking a step back from like the amount of hours that I work in a week in order to be able to also be a full-time mama. Someone said, not about you, but I remember the internet rumor that your little sister was Elle's child. So both Elle, my older sister, and my little sister have blonde hair, blue eyes, and there was a rumor going around for a time that Elle was Jelly's mom and that my mom was like pretending to be her mom because Elle got pregnant as like a teenager, and the proof that people had for this was that Elle had really big boobs, and so she had obviously had kids before. She would have been 15 when my little sister was born, so it definitely would be possible, but it's not true. It was definitely my mother's baby. I was there. I can confirm that the baby was in her stomach. Someone wants to know if I've legally changed my first name yet, and I haven't yet. That is something that when I go to change my name after my wedding, I want to figure out what the paperwork is like, what the process is like, what I need to do in order to change my first name to Blair legally, because it is what I use. But I think that's a long enough video for today. There were so many more responses, and I think this would be such a fun series to do, like one a month. I just sit in my PJs on the couch, go through assumptions, rumors. There were so many more that I didn't even touch on, but that is it for today's video. Thank you so much, DoorDash, for being such an awesome sponsor. Don't forget, you guys can go to the link below, use JuicyStar50 for 50% off your first order of $15 or more, and you can get up to $10 off. Thank you guys so much, and if you have any other questions or assumptions and you want to I'll leave them in the comments below. Maybe for the next one of these videos that I do, I will take them from the YouTube comments, and so I'll start screenshotting them as you send them in. Nothing's off limits. I will try to get to as many of them as I can in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was so much fun. I don't want to go, but I just feel like this video is getting really long. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.